In January of 2017, I attended the Salt Lake City Women's March. I took this photo of a sign that caught my attention. An image of Princess Leia from Star Wars: A New Hope, emblazoned with the words, "A woman's place is in the resistance." This was one of the most popular posters at women's marches that year. This led me to wonder, is Princess Leia feminist? Not is the character in the movies a feminist, but rather is Princess Leia an appropriate feminist icon? After all, there is the infamous Slave Leia sequence with the golden bikini, but that's certainly not all she is. Textually, she's a fearless general and a rebel political leader and one of the most Force-sensitive people in the galaxy. But to really answer my question, I think you have to look not just at her presentation in the text, but at how she has been culturally perceived over time and at what was going on behind the scenes with the film's creators and Carrie Fisher herself. Princess Leia was not always embraced as an icon of American feminism. The feminist movement in the 1970s was so intertwined with the anti-war movement that her active role in the rebellion and the fact that she kills at least 11 people on screen was seen as problematic. The other major feminist criticism of Princess Leia is her status as a sex symbol. An internet image search of Princess Leia exposes this puzzling dichotomy. For every 20 or so images on the first few pages of results, 19 of them depict Leia in her typical utilitarian outfits, often holding a blaster, and one of them is Slave Leia. Sometimes an image of Carrie Fisher herself, but often it is an image of a cosplayer or costume model posing provocatively in a replica golden bikini. Her appearance on screen in Return of the Jedi, chained up and wearing far less than she ever had before or since, immediately labeled her a sex symbol within American culture.
Yeah, oh, Princess Leia in the gold bikini. Oh, every guy our age loved that.
An internet search for Slave Leia yields sexy Halloween costumes, as well as extensive fan-made porn. To those who fetishize it, the outfit represents her captivity, whether consciously or not. And I would hope I don't have to explain how disgusting it is to sexualize anything involving the word slave. In a reversal from A New Hope, where Luke and Han think they're rescuing Leia, but she ends up helping to rescue them, Leia first appears in Return of the Jedi disguised as a male bounty hunter, to boldly rescue her love interest Han Solo from the dangerous and powerful mob boss Jabba the Hutt. When she's caught, Jabba forces her to wear an embellished, skimpy bikini and chains her body to his. To say that a woman isn't feminist because she's wearing a bikini is obviously ridiculous and harmful, but this isn't a situation where a woman chose of her own accord to wear what she wanted to wear. This is captivity and abuse. Leia's agency is taken from her, and she is reduced by a man to a sexual object. As chaos erupts in the midst of Luke's dramatic escape, Leia does not wait for one of the male protagonists to save her. She saves herself. At the first opportunity, she takes control of the situation and strangles Jabba to death with the literal chains of her oppression. She then gets R2-D2, who is notably genderless, to break the chain for her. She stays in the bikini for the remainder of the action escape sequence, but none of the male good guy characters ever ogle her or comment on her appearance while she's in the bikini. Her love interest, Han Solo, is actually blind through this entire portion of the film, so he never even sees her dressed like that. Within the film, it's only the evil slug monster and his minions who sexualize her in that outfit. However, the camera does not always say the same thing that the narrative does. When Leia appears on the Return of the Jedi poster in the metal bikini, none of the context of her strangling Jabba the Hutt is present. It's just the 1983 version of clickbait. In the film itself, Leia is positioned in unnatural, sexy poses in many of the shots in the sequence that include her body. Even though the narrative condemns Jabba the Hutt for putting Leia in that position, the camera offers the audience a horrifying sexual slave fantasy that spoke louder to many viewers than the narrative. Carrie Fisher has said of filming this sequence, quote, "When he showed me the outfit, I thought he was kidding, and it made me very nervous. I had to sit very straight because I couldn't have lines on my sides, like little creases. No creases were allowed. So I had to sit very, very rigid straight. What redeems it is I get to kill him, which was so enjoyable. I sawed his neck off with that chain that I killed him with. I really relished that because I hated wearing that outfit and sitting there rigid straight, and I couldn't wait to kill him." The similarity between Leia's situation in that sequence and Carrie Fisher's actual experience is disconcerting to say the least. Carrie Fisher felt the misogyny at play, once saying to Daisy Ridley, "Don't be a slave like I was. You keep fighting against that slave outfit." That sequence stands out in contrast to the remainder of the film, which actually overcame some of the problems of the previous films. In Empire Strikes Back, when Leia and Han kiss for the first time, she tells him to stop touching her 3 times, but he forces himself on her anyway, and the scene ends with them passionately kissing, implying that her no's were secretly yeses. In Return of the Jedi, however, Leia initiates every kiss between her and Han. Han also appears to have learned to take no for an answer, in contrast to his harassment in The Empire Strikes Back. In Return of the Jedi, Han has a moment of jealousy when Leia won't tell him what she and Luke were discussing. Seeing that she's upset, he apologizes and comforts her the way she asks to be comforted without further pressure. At the very end of the film, he mistakenly thinks she is in love with Luke instead of him. Instead of anger or coercion, his immediate response is to accept her choice and assure her that he will, quote, stay out of the way. The anti-militaristic feminists of the 1970s may have had problems with Princess Leia, but little girls seeing her for the first time weren't aware of these. To them, she was a princess with a blaster. She was brave enough to stand up to Darth Vader and capable of saving herself and the boys. My own mom has told me about how cool it was for her that Luke and Han thought they were rescuing her, but she ends up grabbing the blaster and saving their skins. To many young girls at the time, she was their invitation into science fiction, which was even more male-dominated in the 1970s and 80s than it is now, despite having been invented by a woman. Those little girls grew up, and mainstream feminism changed to become far less connected to anti-militarization and really focused on a woman's right to choose to be whoever she wants, even a princess leader of the Rebel Alliance. It's no wonder then that those girls, now grown women, hold up the princess with a blaster as their rebel icon. Some women have tried to reclaim the bikini. Claudia Gray tried to in 2016 when she wrote Bloodline, an official Star Wars novel. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Gray said, "Right around when I was working on this part of the book, there was a movement that went around in some Star Wars fan circles. A lot of talk about how much people don't like the slave Leia outfit. That's her most powerless moment in the entire thing. I believe it was a young lady named Angie P. who said, 'I petition that we call it the Hutt Slayer outfit.' And I was like, that is a great name, and that is going to happen right now." Not only did I like recasting that outfit as a memory of Leia being really strong and kick-ass, but think about it. For a human being to kill a Hutt with her bare hands, that's unbelievable. Anybody who would be able to pull that off would be remembered for it. That would be legend. So back to my question. Is Princess Leia feminist? Taken all together, the movies themselves, the culture surrounding them, Carrie Fisher's experience with the character, it's complicated. But for me, personally, yeah, Leia herself is a total badass, and in the most recent trilogy, she returned with dignity as a general and a hero. She is revealed to have trained as a powerful Jedi and is admired and respected by the entire rebellion. What she has meant to women and girls for the last 43 years is real and important. The male creators of the Star Wars films undeniably put Leia in some unfair, disempowered positions, and a lot of fans have continued that misogyny by perpetually fetishizing those instances. But there is something very real and very feminist to me about having been put down by the patriarchy and refusing to let those moments define you. To, as Carrie Fisher herself put it, keep fighting against that slave outfit is feminist as hell.